You didn't land here by accident. You were divinely directed. Something inside you has been searching, reaching, waiting for confirmation. And this is it. You've been standing in faith, holding on when everything in you wanted to let go. And now your spirit knows something is shifting. This isn't just another message. This is a mirror to your spirit, a sacred signal that your prayers haven't gone unheard, your tears haven't gone unseen, and your obedience hasn't gone unnoticed. You've been walking with quiet strength, and heaven has taken note. If you're here, it's because you're not average. You carry something rare. You're not just living. You're aligned with something higher. And now, what's been brewing behind the scenes is about to break through into your reality. So lock in, stay open, let your faith rise. Because what's coming isn't just a moment, it's a move, and it's tailor-made for you. Welcome to the shift you've been sensing. Let's unlock it together. Let's tell the truth. Your path hasn't moved at the pace you hoped for. While others leap forward, your journey has felt slow, heavy, delayed. You've watched those with less integrity, less intention, even less vision get handed opportunities while you stood waiting, wondering why your time hasn't come. But hear this, the delay was never a denial. It was design. This wasn't stagnation. This was sacred setup. What felt like being stuck was actually a sacred stretch, not for punishment, but for preparation. While time ticked by, something deeper was taking root inside you, something strong enough to hold what's coming. What looked like inaction was refinement, quiet shaping, deep alignment. Others got quick starts, but you were being fortified, not for fast reward, but for lasting impact. Your prayers were never ignored. They were answered in transformation, not transactions. Instead of handing you the outcome, the divine handed you resilience. Instead of shortcuts, you were given discernment. You learned to hear guidance without noise, to act without applause, to believe without proof. And in doing so, you became ready for what can't be rushed. You've been trained to trust even when there's nothing to see, to show up with no guarantee, to lead without a title. That kind of growth can't be seen in the mirror, but it radiates from the soul. It's the kind of strength only developed through unseen endurance. And while you wondered if anything was happening, plans were forming in realms you couldn't access. Alignments were being whispered. Paths were being prepared. A connection is coming. Someone whose purpose intersects with your preparation. They don't even realize it yet, but something in them is being stirred, drawn toward your story. Not to save you, but to confirm what was already assigned to you. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. They couldn't arrive before now. You weren't supposed to depend on them. You were meant to understand they were never your source, just a piece of a greater plan. Now, with your spirit sharpened, you recognize the difference. You don't wait in confusion anymore. You wait with clarity, with trust, with quiet readiness. Every private prayer laid the groundwork. Every tear shaped the structure. Every time you chose peace over panic, you moved closer. And now, you're on the edge of what has always been yours. Don't rush to the door. Walk with intention. Stand still long enough to feel the weight of the shift. Because what's coming isn't just opportunity. It's orchestration. It's not a rescue. It's a reveal. This next chapter is more than a breakthrough. It's the physical echo of everything that was whispered in your spirit while no one else was listening. The waiting wasn't wasted. It was sacred construction. And now, the unveiling begins. You've carried yourself with quiet consistency, walking through seasons where it felt like no one was watching, no one cared, and no one clapped. You've given your all in empty rooms, poured your heart into spaces that offered no recognition in return. The silence has been heavy, but it hasn't been empty. It's been sacred. You haven't been invisible. You've been under observation. And not by the crowd, but by someone whose reach stretches farther than any applause ever could. Someone whose voice carries weight, whose decisions shift realities, whose influence opens doors you haven't even dared to knock on yet. They haven't spoken up. They haven't stepped forward. But they've noticed. They've seen the way you remain composed under pressure. The way you hold your values without compromise. The way you continue to show up, not to impress, but because it's simply who you are. They may not have signaled their presence, but they're tuned in to your energy. And the reason they're drawn? It's not about charisma. It's about consistency. They're not here for entertainment. They've been stirred by something deeper. They sense the alignment in your presence, the substance in your silence, the truth in your steps. It's not that they've missed your efforts. It's that your integrity speaks louder than your image ever could. Something inside them is being pulled, not to observe, but to respond. You weren't meant to market yourself for moments. You were molded to carry something lasting. And now, the timing is nearing. The connection is forming. They're circling closer, moved by a conviction they can't explain. Your name is surfacing in spaces you haven't entered yet. Not by networking, but by alignment. Not by striving, but by being. This isn't about being seen by many. It's about being recognized by the right one. The one who carries access, who's been quietly positioned for your elevation. They didn't arrive earlier because you weren't finished becoming. You needed time. Time to stabilize, time to ground yourself so that when the door opens, you don't mistake the invitation as validation. You already know your worth. And that's what changes everything. You're not desperate for attention. You're anchored in identity. You're not proving yourself. You're simply walking out the truth you've built in silence. And now, the invisible hand that's been guiding your growth is about to guide someone else's gaze toward you. Not by force, but by purpose. Don't misread the silence. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean nothing's moving. The most powerful shifts often happen without sound. What's coming your way isn't the result of applause. It's the result of obedience. The kind of obedience that echoes louder than any platform. So keep building, keep showing up, keep honoring your path, even when it feels like no one's watching. Because someone is. And when they move, it won't be random. It'll be the moment your hidden preparation collides with divine appointment. And everything will make sense. You've probably looked around and felt the weight of not measuring up. Not in experience, not in credentials, not in who you know or where you've been. The world keeps handing out passes to the polished, the popular, the approved. And yet, here you are, without the accolades, without the backing, still standing, still chosen. The path you're on was never about fitting the mold. What's forming in your life doesn't answer to external metrics. It's been divinely set in motion, built on something deeper than paperwork and praise. You weren't called because of your resume. You were summoned because of your readiness, and that readiness was built in rooms no spotlight ever touched. The shift ahead doesn't require endorsements. It requires essence. Not a flawless track record, but a heart that stays honest. Not a perfect past, but a presence rooted in truth. When something sacred is placed on your life, it won't be the surface that draws the right people. It'll be your substance. Someone is on the way, positioned not by chance, but by timing. They're not scanning for performance. They're sensitive to purpose. And when they come across your name, your energy, your story, they won't need a pitch. Something inside them will know. They won't need to be sold. They'll be sent. This isn't about playing a part. It's about standing in your place. You don't need to network your way into destiny. The connection meant for you is already in motion. And when it lands, you won't have to wear a mask or prove a thing. What's real in you will speak louder than any curated image ever could. They've seen the polished, they've dealt with the scripted, and they've grown weary of the artificial. That's why when your rawness enters the picture, it won't confuse them. It'll confirm them. Your path wasn't meant to follow the typical route, because what's on your life has nothing typical about it. You've endured silently, not to impress, but to be entrusted. The fire didn't come to burn you. It came to prepare you for what paper can't validate. And what's next won't be the result of climbing ladders. It'll be the result of staying anchored. Don't let doubt convince you you're not qualified. Don't reduce your calling to credentials. You were never meant to fit their format. You were built to carry something eternal. Stay rooted in who you are. Let your integrity keep leading. Because the person coming your way isn't coming to assess. They're coming to align. And when purpose recognizes purpose, no title or trophy can compare to the power of that meeting. You don't need to be discovered. You only need to be real. Because it's not your background that makes you undeniable. It's the divine weight you've carried quietly. And that's what heaven uses to open doors man never could. There's a shift brewing that you can't fully explain, but your soul feels it coming. You've carried the weight of long delays, routine days, and silent nights, wondering if anything is really shifting behind the curtain. You've kept walking even when it felt pointless, kept building even when nothing seemed to respond. And that is exactly what positioned you for the kind of moment that changes everything in a flash. It won't arrive with warning signs. There won't be a countdown, just a regular morning, a quiet day, the kind you've lived 1,000 times. And then, without ceremony, everything pivots. A message comes, a decision is made. A door that was sealed tight yesterday swings wide open today. And it won't be because you pushed your way in. It'll be because something far greater moved on your behalf. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. You won't need to campaign. for this kind of access. You won't have to rehearse or chase. This is the kind of alignment that arrives like a spark in dry grass, fast, precise, and undeniable. What seemed stagnant was never still. Conversations were happening without your knowledge. Pathways were being cleared where you saw no exit. The shift didn't need your sight, just your faithfulness. This is how divine timing works. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It erupts. You go from overlooked to chosen, from waiting to walking in. Not because you finally figured it out, but because what was already prepared has simply reached its moment of release. Behind the scenes, someone is already responding to a pull they can't quite name. They've felt the nudge. They've sensed the urgency. What you've carried quietly is now calling loudly in the spirit. And heaven responds to that kind of vibration. Not with noise, but with movement. The help you need isn't arriving. It's already en route. It's not waiting to be approved. It's waiting for the divine signal to be dispatched. You don't see it yet because it doesn't announce its travel plans. It arrives, ready. And when it does, it changes everything. Your part? Keep showing up like the moment's already here. Keep acting like preparation still matters. Stay anchored in the assignment, even when your emotions try to pull you into doubt. Because when the moment hits, you won't have time to prepare. You'll have to step in. You'll need to be ready, not scrambling. So don't mistake silence for stagnation. Stillness does not mean absence. What's on the way has been in motion for longer than you know. It's precise, it's personal, and it's powerful. You didn't miss it. You've been reserved for it. And when it arrives, swift, clear, and undeniable, it won't just surprise you. It will confirm everything your spirit has been whispering all along. The help you thought you were waiting on. It's been waiting on you to become exactly who you are now. You've been preparing without knowing exactly what for, sharpening your voice in quiet spaces, holding on to purpose even when it seemed invisible. And now, someone is being sent not to change you, but to confirm what's already been growing within you. They aren't showing up to mold you into their image or reduce your vision to fit their agenda. They're arriving to lift, not lead, to align, not control. This person won't be drawn by your resume, but by your essence. They've walked through corridors of influence you haven't entered yet, not for status, but for strategy. Their positioning isn't just personal, it's prophetic. They've been placed where you couldn't go yet, only so they could reach back when it mattered most. You were never meant to force your way into rooms. Their voice is the key. Their presence is a bridge. Not because you couldn't get there on your own, but because collaboration was part of your calling all along. This kind of support doesn't come out of pity or pride. It comes from deep spiritual recognition. They're not responding to your need. They're responding to a shared purpose. And it excites them. It energizes them. They don't see you as extra weight. They see you as the next wave, the kind of connection they've been waiting for, just like you've been praying for a break. They don't seek to outshine you. They illuminate your path. Their access becomes your avenue. Their credibility becomes your covering. Their influence becomes your introduction. Not to take the spotlight from you, but to magnify what's already within you. And you'll know it's divine because they won't compete with your voice. They'll clear space for it. They'll mention your name when you're not around. They'll speak boldly for you where you've never stood. They'll leverage their reach, not to feel important, but because they see something sacred in what you carry. This isn't codependence. This is convergence. They bring structure. You bring spirit. They offer platform. You bring depth. They step forward with strategy, and you arrive with substance. It's not about who leads. It's about what's being launched. Don't shrink when they arrive. Don't filter your truth to appear more digestible. You weren't chosen for your polish, you were chosen for your purity. And the help that's coming sees that, celebrates that, protects that. This isn't charity, this is divine chemistry. What they've built was never just for them. It was for a moment like this, for a person like you, to carry something bigger, wider, deeper, together. So when their hand reaches toward you, don't hesitate. It's not a favor, it's fulfillment. Their strength doesn't threaten your journey, it accelerates it. You don't need to chase it. You just need to keep being who you are, rooted, ready, and real. Because the moment they show up, everything shifts. Not because you lacked power, but because now your purpose has a partner. You've come too far, endured too much, and grown too deep to stop at the edge. What's been placed in front of you won't drag you through. It waits. Timing may open the gate, but only you can take the step. Opportunity can be divinely prepared, but activation still requires your agreement. This is the part no one else can do for you. The alignment is real. The right people are being positioned. The way forward is being shaped to fit the very form of your calling. And yet, even with all that in motion, your decision still matters. A shift without movement becomes a missed moment. You asked for it, you prepared for it, but now you must move for it. When the offer comes, it may look unfamiliar. It may arrive wrapped in discomfort, masked in humility, or cloaked in responsibility that feels too big. But the discomfort doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's stretching you. And everything up until now has prepared you to stretch without snapping. The preparation was never punishment. It was rehearsal. The stillness, the struggle, the silence. It formed something in you that performance never could. You learned how to believe without being noticed. You learned how to endure without applause. You learned how to trust when logic said otherwise. And all of that, it's what makes you ready. But readiness is nothing without response. When the door appears, it won't beg for your attention. It will sit there, waiting for a bold soul to recognize its assignment. And it won't always be obvious. It might appear half-closed, requiring you to lean into what you know, not just what you see. Or it might swing wide, but only long enough for courage to walk through. This is where you silence the doubt, where you reject the echo of every "you're not enough" that ever tried to chain you. This is where you override fear with faith. Not because the nerves aren't there, but because purpose is louder. You're not here to be accepted, you're here to activate. You don't need their permission. You already carry divine placement. You were never meant to blend in with systems. You were sent to shift the space. What you hold is not common, it's catalytic. So when the moment rises, whether through a voice, a meeting, an invitation, a decision, don't hesitate. Speak from your center. Step into it fully. The version of you that suffered quietly is the same version that will rise publicly, with scars, with strength, with sacred clarity. And yes, it's yours. Not because of merit, but because of mission. Not because you earned it, but because you embodied it. The season you prayed for is now calling you forward, not with force, but with invitation. What happens next will not be because you waited perfectly. It will be because, when it mattered most, you moved. So steady your hands, strengthen your resolve. The space was made for you, but now you must step into it. You're not rising for applause, you're rising for impact. The transformation taking place in your life was never meant to stop with you. It was designed to overflow. What's unfolding isn't just a personal win. It's a signal that breakthrough is possible. That purpose is louder than pain. That destiny doesn't skip those who suffer in silence. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. You've endured not only to taste victory, but to become evidence. The shifts you experience now will ripple far beyond your own sphere. Because while the reward may feel individual, the assignment is collective. The path you walked with tears in your eyes is about to light the way for people who've been sitting in silence, wondering if they'll ever get through. When the right voice finds you, when the connection you've prayed for finally arrives, it won't be for the sake of clout or comfort. It will be for commission. They won't just unlock access, they'll ignite expansion. Their reach was never meant to impress you. It was meant to amplify you, to help birth a wave of purpose that reaches beyond borders, beyond barriers, beyond you. This is more than timing. It's trust. You're being entrusted with visibility so others can find vision. You're being elevated so someone else can stand. You're being called forward so those behind you can catch up. What you receive is not a finish line, it's a foundation. You're not just called to win, you're called to lift. Your presence becomes someone else's permission. Your resilience becomes someone else's reminder. You become the living echo of every prayer whispered in the dark by someone too weary to speak out loud. And that's the point. This isn't about recognition, it's about responsibility. You were refined so you could be ready, not just for blessing, but for building. Not just to be seen, but to shine in a way that creates room for others. That's what legacy is. Not what you collect, but what you leave behind. So when the moment arrives, and it will, remember that it's not just for your relief, it's for release. You're carrying something sacred, and the world needs to see it alive. Don't let the magnitude intimidate you. Let it anchor you. You weren't chosen because it would be easy. You were chosen because you would carry it well. Stand firm. Speak boldly. Move intentionally. What starts with you isn't meant to end with you. It's meant to spark movement, birth change, and carry light into places still waiting for proof that breakthrough is possible. This is your confirmation. The shift is real. The moment is now. And the mission, it's always been bigger than you.